Okay, Sam, so the dynamic between yourself and Claire and Katrina is obviously a major part of this entire story. Had you two ever met before? And just talk about the chemistry that exists.
Sure, yeah. I mean, not to my knowing, we'd never met, and it was a long process of auditioning and screen tests to get the job. Yeah, I know that there was this great big search out for the actress that could play Claire, and Katrina came in quite close towards the end of, and we were supposed to be shooting within a couple of weeks, and she was just magnificent. She came in this fantastic dress. It was very like 1940s, and we had a really good time. We just started chatting during the audition, and then during the scenes, I remember they were very passionate scenes, and we got very physical in them. I ended up having her in a bear hug, and I looked in her eyes, and I could see that she was pretty angry with me, and I thought, this is great. This is going to really work. So she's magnificent.
And there's clearly a great pleasure in how the fans have responded to the show and what you're hearing about tourism figures and everything else. But nevertheless, it must feel like quite a burden in some ways. I mean, a kind of a high class burden. But just talk about the mantle of the role that you're carrying and how symbolically important the novel has become for contemporary Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, the show has done really well for Scotland. It's certainly showing off Scotland in all its glory, especially even when it's about to rain. Yeah, so I think I'm delighted that our show has been seen as a great icon for Scotland, and I'm glad that also the Scottish people have really taken it to heart. There's we have great actors, we've got great craftsmen, great crew, and I think it's employing a lot of people. It's bringing a lot of industry into Scotland, and I think I'm delighted that it's been such a success.
And the possibility that it could run and run and run, I mean, that's obviously also a high class problem, but nevertheless, a commitment of 8 or 9 years could be quite a lot.
It would be a terrible thing to burden to have to bear, if this was to run. We're on our second season now. I mean, who knows what will happen? But Diana Gabaldon has written a whole series of these books. There are 8 of them currently, and we're filming season 2 at the moment. So yes, I mean the studios have expanded. We've got purpose-built studios in the central of Scotland, and hopefully, it keeps to get bigger.
And finally, the devotion of the fans is quite legendary. What's the strangest thing that's happened to you so far, or the most, unconventional encounter you've had with an Outlander fan?
I mean, our fans are very passionate and excited. I recently received 2 boxes of avocados sent from California, which was quite random, but very, very welcome. I woke up once on a flight and had a fan sort of towering over me asking for an autograph, which was quite bizarre. But no, generally our fans are, they are fantastic. They're very big-hearted, and they've embraced us, which we love, and we hope that they continue to enjoy the show.
And they're all married to you.
Well, is that the case? Great.
I keep hearing that they keep talking about our Jamie.
Well, I'm glad that they don't want to have a divorce just yet.
So, Katrina, the show has been a tremendous success, and your following comes from all circles. I know that there's a huge loyal readership to the book, but there's also quite a celebrity component to the fans. People like Jessica Chastain are reported to be huge fans. Tell me a little bit about the range of feedback you've been getting.
Well, it's really nice. I guess most of that comes via Twitter or Instagram or stuff, but it's amazing how different the age groups are that you get responses from. I mean, one of the most amazing letters I got was from a daughter writing on behalf of her 82-year-old mother, who had one love of her life. It made me cry when I opened it, but she was married to her husband for 50-something years, and he was her Jamie, and she's been enjoying the show, even the naughty bits. And it was incredible. I mean, it's so lovely to hear that from people, and as you say, then you get a random Twitter message from Jessica Chastain, and you're like, oh, okay, that's fantastic. But it's wonderful. I mean, I think Diana has created this very unique and special world, and it's just touched so many people, so it's great to be a part of it.
And it's clearly completely subsumed your life. What has the response been like closer to home? For example, your dad.
I think they enjoy it. It's on quite late in Ireland, so they're not up on the TiVoing or whatever. So he's missed a few episodes, probably, thankfully.
Are your sisters helping to filter it?
Yeah, but it's nice. I think most of my family have seen it, and they all enjoy it. So it's great. It's good that they can watch something that you do.
And how are you finding going about your business in Scotland, because it's become so important for the economy as well, the tourism it's attracting, and the sense of Scottishness that's being projected outwards?
Yeah, I mean, it's just wonderful. We have the most amazing crew here, and when you see some of the craftsmanship and the skills that we get to utilize that have been here for generations and generations, it's very special, and I think that that's something that shines through our show, is that you have this real sense of history that's it's very genuine, and it's very authentic, and that's been something brilliant. And Scottish people they're hilarious, and they have a fantastic sense of humor, and it's funny, occasionally people on the street will make a comment, but it's always something very fun and very sweet. So yeah, I love being here, and it's kind of like home, but it's different enough to feel like you're away. So.
And there must be a mild conflict, albeit a sort of a high class problem, that you could potentially be working on the show for the next 10 years if they continue to adapt all the books.
No, I don't like to think too far ahead, but if that's a problem, that's not a problem at all. I've just been having so much fun, and it's funny, we were talking with the producers, and we genuinely, everyone gets along very well, and they've been like, well, it's usually second season where the problems start to show, and it's great. It's like myself and the guys we're just such good friends, and everybody has found a lovely rhythm where we all coexist very, very happily. So I don't know, if this is to be my job for the next while, then that's not a bad problem at all.
Is there anything else in the pipeline? I mean, you just completed the movie with Jodie Foster that you were just speaking about. Is there anything else that you've been offered, or that you're going to try to squeeze in?
We don't finish until February, so we haven't heard yet whether we come back for season 3 or not. I'm reading stuff at the moment, which is quite nice. I'm tried to squeeze in reading a script before I came here today. And it's nice to think about perhaps doing something else, but at the same time, it's so dependent on whether or not we have enough time in between, whether dates line up. So that stuff I leave to the agents and things to sort out, and I just think about my job. So yeah, we'll see.
There's a fiercely loyal and devoted following to this particular series of books. So I'm wondering if you feel some kind of a responsibility towards the fans who are already devoted to those books, and what kind of encounters you've had with the fans since you've been involved in making the show.
Yes, of course there's a sense of responsibility to sort of honour a set of books that are, so widely loved. It has a very huge following, the books, Diana's books. But I think that our show has, how we've gone about it has been characterised by a great love themselves. I think Ron's a big admirer of the books, and Terry, the costume designer, was a fan of the books anyway, so I think she would almost number herself amongst them. And in terms of sort of encounters with fans, generally it's been incredibly affirming, and they've been very generous to us, and seem to really like what we're doing with the stories, so which is really encouraging.
And a relief, I'm sure.
It is a relief, yeah.
And have you received any unusual gifts or anything you'd like to tell us about?
Nothing unusual. I mean, I actually received some incredibly nice bottles of wine a couple of days ago, so yes, very welcome. I think there's a lot of sort of cookies being cooked and muffins, and which is great. But yeah, they're an incredibly loyal following, and we're very lucky to have that sort of support base for the show.
And there's a lot of new fans have arisen, I think, particularly because of what a powerful role that Claire has and that Katrina Balfe embodies. So will you talk a little bit about Claire's role in working with Katrina?
Yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things about our show is that it is the main character is a heroine. It's a female lead, and I think that's to have that strong a character that is female, to have that kind of breadth of experience, for her to do a lot of the things that often boys do in shows. I think is a really strong element in the show, and yeah, I mean, Kat's very brilliant. I think she does an amazing job on the show, and but she's sort of fantastic to work with, easygoing, but also can sort of produce the goods. And so, but with these long shoots, we're lucky to have a team that I think we have gelled really well, and that's been kind of essential.
And is it challenging for you to commit to as long a series as this? There are 8 books in the series. I mean, the show could potentially run for a decade.
I mean, because of how the books pan out, I only had to sign for 3. So, but yeah, there's always an element of like, are you signing your life away? But with a project like this and with the people involved, it's not that hard a decision. So.
Okay. And finally, just talk about Scotland as a character in this.
Scotland's, I mean, I've really enjoyed working here. We're based in Glasgow, the studios are near to Glasgow, and Glasgow's an amazing city, very warm people. Most of our crew are Scottish, and it's a place that has a lot of heart, a lot of charm. It's a beautiful country, and that definitely feeds into the show in a big way. That has been a real bonus to the whole experience, has been coming up to this very proud and vibrant country.